This is Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller, here at Bar 355 in Oakland, California. This week, I'm bringing you one of the more unusual heist films ever made. It's The Steel Trap, an independently made thriller released by 20th Century Fox in 1952. It reunites the stars of Alfred Hitchcock's famous thriller, Shadow of a Doubt. Do I sound like I'm repeating myself? 2 weeks ago, I showed another film, Count the Hours, that also reunited the stars of that 1943 classic. This time around, however, Teresa Wright is joined not by MacDonald Carey, but by her Uncle Charlie, Joseph Cotten. Now, if you're a fan of Shadow of a Doubt, which is one of my favorite Hitchcock movies, you might get a little queasy today watching Cotten and Wright playing husband and wife, not uncle and niece. There was only a 13-year age difference between them, but by the time Wright made this film, she was 34, and being married on screen to a man Cotten's age, 47, didn't feel quite as squeamish. Of course, she was 15 years younger than her actual husband, writer Niven Bush, so this was nothing new for Teresa Wright. What is new is that she's a blonde. Maybe she wanted to make sure Cotten wasn't seeing his one-time niece, little Charlie, in their conjugal scenes. Coincidentally, this film is the work of a husband and wife team, the Stones, Andrew and Virginia. Now, I've shown a number of their films before on Noir Alley: Highway 301, Night Holds Terror, Julie, and Cry Terror. Andrew, who was born here in Oakland, had been a writer and director for almost 20 years before he met and married the 24-year-old Virginia Lively in 1946. She was working as a sound cutter at MGM, but once she hooked up with Stone, she became a partner in his independent production company. Together, they wrote and produced their films, with Andrew then directing and Virginia usually doing the editing. For this project, however, the Stones worked with an executive producer, Burt Friedlob, who was just starting to make a name for himself in Hollywood, and not only because he was married to actress Eleanor Parker. He had at this point produced a low-budget sports drama and a comedy, and he bought Stone's script with the notion that a suspense thriller would gain him more notoriety. In addition, he set the filmmakers up with a much bigger budget than they usually had at their disposal. The Stones were noted for saving money by shooting on location, which for this one meant New Orleans, in addition to lots of actual Los Angeles settings. It also means this film sounds different, as the acoustics are very different when you film in actual banks, airports, and kitchens. You will notice the difference. The movie has a unique premise that I do not intend to spoil. The less said, the better. I'll just reiterate that it features one of the most unique bank heists you'll ever see. Such clever plot hooks were a Stone specialty, although their stories sometimes stretched credulity, past the breaking point for some viewers. It's one of the reasons they insisted on shooting in real locations. They felt that greater authenticity went a long way towards smoothing over some of the more implausible aspects of their plots. Now, I've encountered people who, for various reasons, don't see this as a film noir. It has little of the familiar iconography. No femme fatale, no gangsters, none of that stuff. But one of the essential hallmarks of noir is that it's where otherwise upstanding citizens realize they are capable of criminal acts. Put a normal guy under pressure, real or imagined, and who knows, he may find himself capable of robbing a bank, outsmarting the authorities, and disappearing into a new life, one filled with all the things he's dreamed of but has never been able to possess. While a lot of noir is fueled by lust or greed or revenge, this one is fueled by middle-class malaise. Maybe not the most exciting motivation for crime, but one I think a lot of people can relate to. The photography by Ernest Laszlo has little in common with the moody lighting associated with noir, but one genre trope that's retained is the use of a stream-of-consciousness voiceover. The aggressive score by Dmitri Tiomkin goes a long way towards making this a genuine nail-biter. From 1952, a reminder that not everybody at that time was content with a steady job and a comfy suburban home. Here is The Steel Trap.